And then finally today, our forgiveness. And this one's a little bit of a different one. And I say that because at the time we were frustrated and mad, but who knows how it would have turned out. But this guy really started the wheels and the events in motion that are getting us to where we're going to be tomorrow. So that's why I'm including him today. And today we're going to forgive Jadeveon Clowney for his hit on Carson Wentz in the wild card game against the Seahawks in 2019. The Eagles were expected to be contenders going into that season, but injuries, lots of injuries that year, and then inconsistent play, especially from the quarterback, led them to be 5-7 through 12 games. However, they closed out the season with 4 straight division wins to finish at 9-7, win the NFC East, and got us all thinking that maybe this is the year Carson Wentz kind of gets his magic, takes over, and takes us on a deep run. As I mentioned, they were playing Seattle in the wild card game. I was at the link, but early in the first quarter, Carson Wentz was tripped up, and then Jadeveon Clowney comes and jumps right on top of him, hitting his head into the turf with his helmet. Absolutely a dirty hit. I don't care what anybody says. Go back, look at the replay of it. It was a dirty hit. Wentz obviously left the game with a concussion. Josh McCown came in, but he was like 137 years old at the time. Took over and didn't play badly, but just couldn't get us quite there. Eagles lose to the Seahawks 17-9. Put up a great fight, but who knows? They probably would have won that game if Wentz was in, especially the way he'd been playing down the stretch. He did play, and the irony of all of this is the questions about Carson Wentz being an injury-prone quarterback. He played all 16 games that year, and then, of course, early in the first quarter of the 17th game is when he gets hurt. But what we didn't know at the time, and who knows what would have happened after that. They would have played Green Bay and then had to go to San Francisco. But at that point, we still had sort of that magic vibe around this Eagles team coming off 2 years removed from the Super Bowl. But again, what we didn't know at the time was this hit by Jadeveon Clowney literally broke Carson Wentz. He was just never the same after that, and really he was exposed maybe for who he really was. He had the issues in 2020 with Doug Peterson, got all up in his feelings when Jalen Hurts was drafted, and just that next season was just an absolute disaster. So on this day, on the eve of the NFC Championship game, we're forgiving Jadeveon Clowney for breaking literally Carson Wentz, for costing us that game early in the first quarter by knocking him out, and really, like I said, for exposing Carson Wentz for the individual that he was, because he never was the same after that, and that's when things started to spiral out of control. And maybe, just maybe, we should be thanking Jadeveon, because if that didn't happen, maybe Doug doesn't want to give Jalen a shot there, and Carson doesn't get even more up in his feelings, and they don't end up trading him and handing the team over to Jalen. And if Jalen's not the quarterback, maybe Doug is still our coach, and do we get back to the Super Bowl, and are we where we are heading into tomorrow? So not only am I going to forgive Jadeveon Clowney, I'm going to thank him for setting those events in motion to get us to where we are for tomorrow.